I love like just the opportunity to grow, unlearn everything that we was taught. Maybe it was ignorance, or maybe, ignorance is when you don't know, or ignorance sometimes is when you do know and you still decide to do it. But just having that moment of maturity, that revelation, and just growing, having
And
that
just
that growth.
it's that mindset. I'm of the mindset of once you tell your subconscious mind something, you say it enough times, you can believe it. If you think you're a
That
failure, if you think you got it, you'll go get it. You tell yourself that shit so much, then you gonna go get it. You're gonna believe that. But it's the opposite, There's a different way to look at this. Or once you start questioning what someone taught you since day one, that's when you're taking that next step.
that part.
So I love it. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. So I know who you are. I know you as Christy, the basketball player that can beat probably 10% of the NBA right now. You probably ain't picked up a ball in years, but I'm pretty sure you still got it. You're doing great things. So, welcome. Thank you so much for agreeing to, number one, be on the show, share your story, and also, the chance to let the people see who you really are and let you open up a little bit. So I'm gonna let you have the floor. Let the folks know what you got going on right now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I just want to say before we begin, before I start talking about myself and focusing on me, I just want to say how proud I am of you. And his name is
Mike.
Mike.
No, Mike. Yeah.
Now, I don't think I ever was introduced to Mike, but I always saw him around.
Yes.
And he always had a light to him. Me and you always had a conversation, and I appreciate y'all too for inviting me on the show, man. I'm proud of y'all.
Thank you.
I love ownership. I love building. I love when we reach down and be our best version of ourselves and just go for whatever our heart's desire. So before I talk about myself, I just want to say I'm proud of y'all.
Thank you.
Keep going. I pray that this turn into something where Netflix get a hold to it, or get a sponsorship with big partnership. You know what I'm saying?
You hear what the fuck is going on Netflix? You heard what you heard what you said. Now I appreciate that for sure. But it's more so to showcase you. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a partnership. My last guest, Rallo, he mentioned that a lot. He referenced that, a lot during his interview of how, Savannah, is so much going on in Savannah right now. Everybody is doing their thing. I don't know if it's pandemic or we seeing the Jadas of the world and everybody else of the world.
It's our time.
It's been our time. But like you said, we have never been taught to go and chase that, right? We were taught, and no disrespect, our parents love y'all. We love y'all. But what they wanted us to do was to do better than what they did in the city. But in the city, we ain't trying to be in the city. We still trying to represent the city. And you know what I'm saying? And I love to see these young ladies with these lashes and all these other studios popping up. You got the clothing line, you got all this stuff going on. I'm so happy, that Savannah is finally getting that platform that you got individuals like Jason Camouflage Johnson and everyone else that tried to set for us. But now it's our turn.
It's our turn.
It's your turn.
We shifted.
What you got going on?
Well, a lot of people, they do know me as a basketball player, and I did start off as a basketball player, but that's before I knew who I really was. And I would say, like, basketball, it was the forefront. It was the blessing that God put in like within me, the gift to be able to, like, reach for the stars, like do whatever it is that I need to do to make opportunity. And I didn't know per se that I was doing it when I was doing it. I was just being who I was on the court. If anybody watching this podcast, if they have ever seen me play basketball, they know who I am. I'm gonna go get you some buckets. I'm gonna play you hard. I don't care about no gender. It's all about winning to me, and then leaving everything on the court. So
Maya Moore before Maya Moore was Maya Moore, by the way. But go ahead.
Exactly. Me, I respect Maya. We played together at USA Basketball, but our games are very similar. But I would say, like, she is Maya Moore's because she was in Atlanta and I'm in Savannah.
Right.
So I didn't have like I would say like the microscope on me because Savannah is a smaller place. So, coming out of a bigger place, they're gonna put more. They're gonna push that more.
Right.
Atlanta opposed to Savannah. So that's all, I ain't tripping. I appreciate, my story. I appreciate everything that, every door I walked through, every door that I didn't walk through. But like I said, like a lot of people know me as the basketball player, but after college, I graduated, but I didn't pursue my 5th year because I got hurt my 4th year.
Okay.
So I ended up
At University of Georgia, right?
Yep. Sorry, y'all.
No, it's okay. I was like, wait, she's a bulldog, not a damn Panther.
I'm
no
a
Georgia,
bulldog.
Ain't no Georgia State. Okay, boom, Georgia State.
I'm a bulldog. So I'm gonna keep it short. But I'm gonna touch the point. So
okay.
A lot of people know me and Danielle. So we started playing at Delaware Center under Coach Landy. I was 7, she was 8. Rest in peace to my GOAT. I was 7, she was 8, and we just was partners ever since then. We played together, we beat people together, we played each other together. You know what I'm saying? We made each other better. If I would say we was like the Kobe, I mean not Kobe, we was like the Mike and Pimpin.
Right.
And
it's a great analogy, actually.
If you looked at me as Jordan and you looked at her as Pimpin, it's whatever. It's subjective. But yeah, so one of the reasons why I went to Georgia, because my top 3 was Tennessee, LSU, and Georgia. And my mind was never to Georgia.
I wanted you to go to Tennessee so bad.
I was going to Tennessee. But Pat Summitt, she got arrogant on me and she wanted me to commit. And I wasn't really at a place where I knew where I really wanted to go. So I didn't want to be rushed into a decision. But make a long story short, I ended up going to Georgia to because Danielle committed and she, Danielle's a year older than me and she was going to Georgia. So I just wanted to continue the legacy. So I ended up going to Georgia. We both went to Georgia. It was definitely a different experience, but it helped me. It took like the limitations off, like in high school, you could cruise, cruise control. I would say that because, it's a certain level in high school. And then you go to college and it's damn near the pros. You train like the pros. You wake up like you in a whole job situation / military.
Making money off you like it. Shit.
Exactly. And it brings your outlook to the game is different. Now it's a business. Now is mandatory. So it's different. Now you got to make sure you do what you do. But I went to Georgia. My first year was my best year. I got freshman of the week like 5 times. I got 6, the SEC 6 woman of the year. That was huge for me because like I was going through so much when I first went to school that like I felt like I had something to prove. So I used to come off the bench and if you see me play, I'm coming with energy. I don't give a damn who gonna stop me. So I just felt like I had to prove it to myself. I had to prove it to my coach. I had to prove it to my teammates. And I just went in. So my freshman year honestly was my best year. My sophomore year, it was okay. My junior year, I kicked ass. And then my 4th year, the first day of official practice, I tore my ACL. So I decided not to go back for my 5th year because 1, I dealt with a lot of depression in college and just finding myself dealing with sexuality, dealing with taking, how you have to break those chains of people expectations of your life. I was tapping into who I was becoming. And I felt like I had so many people they attached everything on me. And so I'm like living for everybody else's expectation. And I really don't know who Christy Marshall is. So I decided not to come back my 5th year. I graduated in the summer of 2010 and I was a fashion major. So that's how I went from basketball to fashion designer.
And that's a perfect segue into what what I was going to ask you next. How did you get into fashion? But I want to pause on that for a second. I want to harp on something that you just said there. You said that it pretty much you got tired of living for other people, but you were away and you were dealing with so many different things. Do you think that it was because that you were out of Savannah, the fact that you went away from Savannah and you were seeing different things and experiencing different rendezvous, whatever you want to call it, whatever life had thrown at you at that point of time? Did being on a big stage or platform like playing basketball for the University of Georgia, do you think that's what did it to you, or was it just Christy just growing?
I think it was just everything that's in you must come forth. Okay. And you also, if you seek, you shall find. So I think that it just was predestined as I got older as I start seeing things and thinking for myself. You get what I'm saying? At that age, because I always gave people the power. And when I say gave people the power, I always let people make decisions for me, whether it was my mother, whether it was my godfather at the time, whether it was my peers. You know, I always was a leader, but then I give you that when it's time to make a major decision. Oh, what you think? What you think I should do? Instead of like knowing what my gut feeling is. And my gut feelings was Tennessee the whole time. So I think it was like, it had to come forth. Like I couldn't continue to deplete myself, because when you don't become your own and think for yourself, or just do things because you want to do it and not because it's you living for somebody else's expectation, you're depleting yourself. So that's why I was dealing with depression, you know, because I don't, you know, it was also my sexuality. In Savannah, I was this straight girl when I knew I was not straight. You get what I'm saying? I was lying to myself. I may not have was acting on it, but I had the feelings. You know what I'm saying? So I think that had to come forth. I just had to live my truth, you know, and do what made me feel like I'm being genuine, authentic, despite where I'm from or what people think. Because you know, Savannah, they be hard on you.
Oh,
once they
hard
get
on you.
They like to talk about you. So
if they don't fuck with you, hey, you are the scum of the earth, and everybody knows that. But that's the city we was raised in. Listen, it made me stronger, but you know what made me really stronger. The reason I ask you this is a question that I like a lot of my guests on the show that have been out of Savannah. You know what I'm saying? When you get out of Savannah, you get out of that Pope mentality, like we call it, you know, it's a whole different world out there.
Oh yeah.
And you got to put that hat on. So you was a fashion icon. You know, I'm gonna tell you a little story real quick, like Bernie Mac said. I'm gonna tell you a little story. So you already know I'm about to go with this. I'm in New York. I'm working for shout out Thompson Hotels, you know,
yes, sir.
Hyatt Hotels or whatever. So they send me to task force in New York. I'm in New York. They're like, Stefan, you know, you want to take a stab at the schedule? And I'm like, the schedule? Like, man, I don't work here. I don't know nothing. I'm just here to help out. So I'm just going through the schedule. I'm like, Christy, hey, why this person ain't got no days by their name? They're like, oh, Christy, yeah. So she kind of just do her own thing. I was like, huh? They're like, yeah, like, she used to work here, you know what I'm saying? She come back and she help out what she can. We love what she graces. Hey, anytime she come, listen, like it's up. You know what I'm saying? Like back then they would say it's up. You know, that's what they was telling me. So I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? They're like, matter of fact, hey, where are you from again? I was like, I'm from Savannah, Georgia. I flew out. I was there for 2 days and then I flew out for the weekend to come home. So they were like, wait, you just went to Savannah, Georgia, right? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, you gotta know her then. I was like, it's only one Christy. And I can tell y'all that this ain't that Christy. Like, I ain't no way she work here. They were like, she's like the clothing. I was like, no, y'all gotta be kidding me. Yep. They were like, yeah, she's from Savannah, Georgia. I was like, man, what? So how the hell did you get in New York? Tell me about that whole experience real quick, because I never known the story.
Well, you know, my life has been like this, but it's been steady and it's been consistent. I would say it's been like the reveal, you know, like when you on the journey of the like becoming, that's what I would say. But when I graduated in 2011, I moved to Atlanta. Then from Atlanta, when I realized that I had another gift where I taught myself how to sew, I realized that California had more resources. So I packed my car up and went west. So I stayed in California for like 3 years. And I was like, okay, I can't be a fashion designer and don't go to New York. So I just threw myself out there. So I actually stayed in Harlem for a year and a half, almost 2 years. And I needed a job. And a lot of artists don't know you have to be able to provide for yourself. You can't be around here begging people for money. And, you know, you have to be able to, you know, put your business hat on. So I knew I wanted the best. I didn't want to just go work these, you know, ranky dank ass jobs, because I already did that. So my roommate at the time, he actually worked for the Beat Mint, and he was in the hospitality industry for I would say like about 5 or 6 years. So he was up in rank. So I was able to give him my resume and just, you know, put the word in. So I love the fact that I could go to, you know, that Thompson Hotel brand, and it fit like who I was. It fit just like where I'm trying to go in life. And then I also want to just throw myself out there because I had a really social anxiety. So you know how I'm talking right now?
Yes.
I couldn't do this 6, 7 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd be stuttering and getting nervous and don't know what I'm saying, overthinking. So I was like, God, you know what? I need help. Wherever you lead me, I'm gonna follow. So that job, being in hospitality, it actually was like the first step of me like throwing myself out there and learning how to have a conversation or start a conversation or serve someone. You get what I'm saying? So that's how I ended up at the Beekman Hotel. And I worked there for a year. I knew I was just passing through, so I didn't get comfortable, but I learned so much working in hospitality. I was like the only door woman in the state of New York.
Listen,
so sometimes people
you left an impression. I'm serious. You left an impression. Like when I tell you, from the staff to leadership, like, you know what I'm saying? Like when they came to me, like, wait, you know her? And I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? We're from the same, you know what I'm saying? We're from the same place. Like, you know, like, yeah, like she does like the clothing. I was like, yeah, that's her. They knew so much about you. And like I said, every single person spoke so highly of you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if I even reached out to you about it, but did I?
No, Christina told me you was the manager.
Yeah, okay, yeah, cool. I was there for 3 weeks, and then they was like, hey, can you stay for 2 more weeks? And I was like, yeah, sure. They offered me a job twice. You know, I got married in New York. I opened, you know what I'm saying?
Congratulations.
That's my favorite place like ever. Looking back on what I look back on now, I think I would have been further because New York would have prepared me for that. You know, I went back to San Francisco and had to learn a different type of lesson over there than what I probably would have learned in New York.
That's huge. You in 2 big cities.
Yeah, I try to do the most when it comes to this whole hotel thing, because I wanted, like, people probably don't even know this movie, but Dunstan Checks In was one of my favorite movies as a kid. You know, I don't know if you ever seen it.
I heard of that movie. Yeah, I think I watched it.
A monkey that's being treated wrong, and he ended up staying in the hotel. And you know, the dad, he was managing the hotel. His kids were staying in the hotel, and they had to deal with this whole monkey situation and the abusive owner, all this crazy stuff. But you know, as a kid, that shit lit me up. Watching Home Alone 2, you know, all of that lit me up about working in hotels and being in New York, all of that stuff. So it was like a dream come true to, you know, be there. And when I get there, here I am thinking that I'm doing something. You done been there. You know what I'm saying? So, and not only were you there, you know what I'm saying, you made an impression on those folks. Once again, putting Savannah, Georgia on the map. But you went to New York and you decided to go into fashion. Now you said you went to you had a minor or major in fashion. Which one was it?
I majored in fashion merchandising.
You majored in. Right. So who was that one influencer or that one fashion icon that made you say, okay, this is what I want to do? Like this, you know what I'm saying? Was it just you? Because I remember you used to be fly, you know what I'm saying? You used to be fly. You know,
but see, I didn't know I was I didn't know I was fly.
You were Savannah fly.
Savannah fly. But you know, I just love to be clean. I love to be clean. Like I'm a neat freak. So when I get dressed, well, when I would get dressed when I'm younger, I would have safety pins to make sure my collars are perfect. And you don't know who you are until God reveal who you are. Oh, this is why I used to do this. Okay. So when I chose my major, I actually was going to be an engineer. But let me tell you how everything connects. Because when I went to go be an engineer and I saw all the classes I have to take for engineering, I'm like, no, I'm too lazy for that. Let me go get something easy. But the reason why I chose fashion is because people always used to compliment me on my style. And so I'm like, okay, well, it's something there. It's something there. I know I'm being lazy, but it's something there. So maybe I should just go see what's behind that door. So that's why I chose fashion merchandising to be my major. And I really didn't know I was going to do anything with it. I thought I was going to be in the WNBA, honestly. I did not know my life was going to go like this. I thought I was a basketball player to the end. I thought I would be Kobe Bryant and retiring at 38, 39. With 5, 6 world championships.
I thought so for too.
Me to go from a basketball player and realize I'm an artist, that only could be God and predestined.
Just going off some memory of things you said earlier, you said that you taught yourself how to sew. You know what I'm saying? But something had to get you there. At what point did you realize, like, I might be the truth of this shit? I'm about to go for it. Like, who put you onto it?
I couldn't find a job. So, you know, in 2010, when I graduated, it was the beginning of the recession. Like, it was the worst time to graduate. So I'm out here looking for opportunity. I'm like, I know all these people and nobody give me an opportunity. I was like getting depressed again. I'm like, what is going on? But my mom was crazy as my mom is a seamstress. My
Okay.
mom really is an artist, but due to like, where we from, my mom always had to work hard. So she couldn't never really tap into that side, but I know right now that my mom was born to be an artist. My mom was making my clothes at 5. It's 7 of us, and she used to make all our clothes. My grandma, she used to be a tailor, but when I was younger, I wasn't paying attention to them, the things that they can do. I would go to the fabric stores with my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I got to be at the gym at 5 o'clock. How long you gonna be in here? But we got to go, man. I ain't got time in here. But I guess like through DNA, like the gifts was passed down. So I'm like, I got this gift that I don't even know about yet. So, when it's time to teach myself to sew, I guess I was in survival instincts. Like I had to teach myself because I couldn't find a job. And I'm like, you know how you go fill out applications and I'm qualified because I got my bachelor's. I don't understand what's going on. Like why, or I'm overly qualified. So I just started thrifting. I had to find something that I like to do because I can't find a job and I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I got, I'm from Savannah, Georgia. At the end of the day, I always hustled. At 10, I was working at 13 under Coach Landy running the clocks at the center. So I knew how it felt to go get some money on my own, or I'm sweeping the barbershop, after cuts.
Right.
So I already had the hustle mentality in me. And I knew that I couldn't just like, all right, let me sit back and let life beat my ass. No, I got to figure it out. So I just tapped into like going to the thrift stores. I first started like learning how to deconstruct and reconstruct the jackets. And that's how it started. And then I realized like when I stopped posting on Instagram, this when Instagram started first popping, people was like, oh, yo, I need that. And I'm like, you need that? Oh, so I can sell this to sellable? And then I started doing it more. And then like I started treating it like it was basketball. Like how I would go to the gym every afternoon at 4:30 after school. I started treating sewing like basketball. So I would put 2 hours a day aside to go work at it. My mom sent me a sewing machine by my cousin because I'm in Atlanta at this point. And I put that sewing machine on the kitchen table. And I was at that sewing machine almost 3 to 4 hours every day. Like I'm shooting jump shots. So that's how I started.
You blew up with it because you automatically had a following. I think that any entrepreneur these days, how we look at it in 2021 is definitely how we look at entrepreneurship probably back in 2010 when you were doing it. Right now, it's pretty much like what is more convenient, like like the Instacarts and all this other stuff that's going on. It's all about what is convenient to people. At that point, I don't think boutiques had taken off, like what I'm saying, like where they at right now, right? So you definitely capitalized at a perfect time. So fast forward now to 2021, 11 years later, where's your line now? You see the Laker jacket in the back. I'm pretty sure you did that yourself. But just talk a little bit about, where your line is today versus where it was then and future projects and, just where you at with everything.
Well, I would say my line, 10 years has been a long time to, for me to like keep the remain consistent. So I would just say like the quality, the creativity is on another level. The vision is on another level. Like I'm not just, of course, as you see on the Laker jacket, that's an art piece. And it was sentimental to me because even though I wasn't a Kobe fan, being that basketball was my life at one point, I saw the dedication. I saw what he gave to the game. So it was only right that when I got that vision for that, to dedicate that jacket, I had to dedicate it as an art piece to him. But it's not just the art pieces, it's about manufacturing.
Okay.
So, where I'm at right now is I'm moving into, the stage of manufacturing where we just not selling clothes or you feel like it's fast fashion. No, we want to, I say we because it's not just, I can't do it by myself. I might have the vision, but it takes a community, So I want to be able to produce. I want to be able to take out the middleman, which that's why I had to learn how to make my patterns. That's why I had to learn how to sew. That's why I had to learn how to do the screen print and then do the printing on the jackets and stuff like that, embroidery. Just basically be the engineer of my craft so I can take out the middleman and produce. And that just equates to manufacturing. And when you think about ownership, we own it. You get what I'm saying? No, we don't have to wait 7 to 10 weeks in China or Asia for somebody to ship us something. Because right now, what you see, a lot of designers that depend on these factories in overseas, their stuff is stuck in the middle of the ocean.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, you know, when I do talk to other inspiring fashion designers and stuff, I try to encourage them to learn the craft. Don't just do it and put it in somebody else's hands. Be able to own your stuff and produce it. If that's your dream, or if that's a goal, because we have to learn how to depend on ourselves and be able to produce. So I would say that's where we are right now. Manufacturing, not just producing a jacket, is way beyond just fast fashion or just, you know, materialistic things.
Right. You mentioned just now the advice that you would give to someone else, another up and coming, you know, seamstress or a fashion designer. My wife right now, she's not into, you know, obviously to the stitching and all that. I tried to get her a sewing machine once upon a time, but she ain't into all that. But you talking about thrifting? That's what she do. Like, you know, in Seattle, in San Francisco, even in Savannah, she's had clients where, you know, she goes and, you know, she does the shopping for them or whatever, you know, and charges, you know, she got her website, you know, she's trying to pop that off or whatever, but she's good at just putting pieces together. You know, so she's good at going into the Goodwills, into the thrift stores and just tearing it up. And I got stuff in my closet now. People like, you know, I take these pictures, you know, on my headshots. People like, bro, who dressed you? Like, my wife, bro.
Is she from Savannah?
No, she's actually from Pittsburgh, but we met. She moved to Savannah, and we met. I don't know if you remember Tantra. You know, me and Markeith, your fellow bulldog.
Oh yeah.
We were in Tantra one night. He was home from Kennesaw, and I saw. And, you know, I was stalking her on Instagram for a little minute, but anyway, I saw her in on Facebook. I'm sorry, Instagram wasn't popping yet, but I met her in the club, and you know, the rest is history. But you know, I go in my closet right now. I got a couple pieces. I got a couple of full outfits that she put together off thrifting. Like, people talk like, you know, I'm humble, shit. I tell you, you know, so even this setup you see in this background, this Samsung TV that you see on the back, this was Goodwill. This was $15, and it was a yellow tag. Yellow tag was half off that day. So I got this TV screen for $750. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But you see it, you might, oh man, he got it going on. You know, man, little do you know what I'm saying? I use what my wife taught me with this whole thrifting thing. You know, I got Michael Kors jackets for $20. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? I want to, you know, it ain't all peaches and cream. You know, you ran into, you know, stopping points to where you ended up at the Beekman. You ended up maybe back in Savannah for a little minute. I don't know that, but I'm just saying you probably ended up starting all over again. So as a person coming up in the industry who's really finding your way, finding your strengths and your weaknesses in the industry by yourself as you navigate those waters, you know, so talk a little about the struggles and, you know, how you overcame them to get to where you are today.
Man, where do I begin? As many yeses I heard as I have heard a lot of no's, and I have had doors closed in my face. I have had failures.
Elaborate. What kind of like who you talking? Who you asking for favors? Like, you know.
Well, I would start off with, we talk about fashion or just in general in my life.
In general, like the fashion journey to who you are and where you are today.
Okay, well, I would start off by saying that my first business, it failed. That business that I'm talking about, Christy's Closet.
I remember.
36 in Lux, you know, that I don't really put a lot of energy in it because I have forgiven myself. I have given myself grace. I have, you know, just move forward with my life. But that first business, I failed so bad. Like, you know, I didn't understand. I wasn't the businesswoman I am today. You know, I was ignorant in a lot of areas. I didn't have stability. I was half the time I was moving around, had my sewing machine in one, and then my luggage in the other arm, out here grinding.
Sound like I'm sorry, but it sound like you knew where you fucked up at. You knew where you went wrong at.
Exactly. And my communication, customer service, like a lot of that stuff I had to learn by experience, and the value of not taking a customer support for granted. You know, by losing my first business, which is, I thank God for my afflictions. I thank God for the doors that had to be closed, because like I said, it was the development of who I am or who I was becoming. So I took those lessons, I learned it, and I used the wisdom moving forward. But I lost my first company horribly. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was people making fake pages about me. And my heart intents were always pure. Like I never intended to do anything ill to anybody, but I was very ignorant in business. So losing that company and starting all over, I just had to regroup. I had to realize like, okay, Chris, all right, you back here. What's next? And I had to let a lot of stuff go. And then after that, I was like, okay, how can I make my craft better? So I got under Gentleman Jim, which he's a master tailor. He's from Harlem, New York.
Okay.
And I actually met him in Savannah through my mom, because my mom took his class. But after I lost the business, I wanted to become better. I ain't want to stop. I'm not stopping for nothing. So I went under him. I came to Savannah for maybe 4 months. And when I'm in Savannah, people really don't know. I'd be very low, spend time with my family, or I'm on a mission. So I went and I was going to school under Mr. Jim. And when I first took him my stuff, he was like, I see what you're trying to do, but you can, your quality could get better. So he taught me like a lot of fundamentals about, just making a quality garment. So that was the good thing about the failure or failing my first business. I have lost friendships behind this thing. Sometimes you think that people gonna be around for the whole journey, but I learned that people, or I would say my life, sometimes your life, you serve people in a season and not forever. Like this thing is a marathon, like Nipsey say, and some people are here for seasons and then some people are here for forever. And I had to learn that. And so it was a lot of heartbreaks on my end, and I'm sure on their end, but everything must go forward. You get what I'm saying? Regardless of what happens, if something happened tonight or tomorrow, life still got to go forward. So lost friendships, a lot of jobs, I would say, trying to figure it out. When you independent designer, you trying to invest in your company, but then also survive. And I'm in two of the most expensive places in the US, New York City and Los Angeles. Exactly. Can you only imagine? Rent already starting at $1,500.
Right.
But I was blessed. In New York, I had a roommate situation, and then LA, I was really a struggling artist. Like I had to, I sacrificed a lot for this dream, and because I already knew that, if I keep going, this thing gonna pay off. And I feel like I learned that from basketball. If you keep going to the gym, Chris, eventually you're gonna dunk on a nigga.
Right.
And and I just, I realized that basketball is life.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna sum up, before I go into the next segue, I'm gonna sum up literally everything you said and kind of put that in the package deal to, what you said previously in, earlier in this interview. You said that you were a very tidy person. You know what I'm saying? You like to keep things together, keep everything neat. You displayed that on the court. I saw that in you. I'm telling you right now, when I looked at you on the court, your ponytail was always perfect. It was always, the scrunchie was at a perfect length where your hair was not in your way, so you can still do your thing. You know what I'm saying? To your knee pads, to your long socks, to everything else, your uniform was, like you said, you and Danielle, y'all was like, two peas in the pod. But she was the pip. She was the, what I'm saying? She got dirty, you know what I'm saying? You were the smooth assassin, the killer, you know what I'm saying? So that carried with you. Every single, I believe that your reputation, and I'm gonna tell you straight in the camera in front of everybody, your reputation is exactly what it is for a reason. You mentioned being a leader. I just remember you being around the youngins. Like me, dating who I dated, you know what I'm saying, back then, a long time ago, like Bernie Mac said. But how she used to look up to you, and how the Khalila Watsons of the world, how they all like, but take it to out of school and bring it to my personal life. You being around Portia and coming over to the house, coming over to Bo crib, you know what I'm saying, hang out or whatever. Like just the way that everybody, you know what I'm saying, gravitated towards you. You were always that leader type, you know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't expect anything different than who's sitting in front of me right now, Oh, for sure. You've always been that person. But now fast forward that. Now let's put all of that into perspective. You learned, you failed, you know what I'm saying? You hopefully you grew, hopefully your line grew. You said, your quality's better, all these good things, but where are you now? Like just take me through a journey of your day, your everyday life now. Like where are you? Where's the brand now?
The brand, okay, so I have my
First, tell the folks everything they need to know about you. First of all, where they can find it. What's the website? What's the link?
okay.
What's the hashtag? Like what
Love
does
that.
what does it represent? Like just I want you to brag. You know, now it's time. You know, you done show the folks who you are and what you about. You know, the person that you are. Now talk a little about your brand. You know what I'm saying? Where you want it? Where is that? Where you want to take it?
Okay, so right now we are located in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
So 9 years later, we
Booming.
finally have our creative space. We have our own atelier, which is a design studio.
I was just about to say, what the hell is that, man? I manage hotels. I don't know what that is.
So it's just a fancy word to describe a design studio. So you have Gucci atelier, you have Balenciaga atelier, Chanel atelier. Why not Sartorial Splendor atelier?
Okay.
And 9 years later, after I'm sold on so many tables, now we have our own manufacturer in Atlanta, Georgia. The Instagram, if you guys ever want to follow us, you can follow us on Instagram, Sartorial. I know it's gonna be hard to pronounce it at first, but once you
Don't
get
worry about it. We're gonna tag you. You already know that. Now, come on, man.
It's SARTORIAL_Splendor. And then that's the Instagram. And then the website is the same thing, sartorialsplendorclothing.com. And you can find our YouTube attached to it, our Facebook, everything you need to know to stay up to date. Like I said, we located in Atlanta, Georgia. And if you ever needed anything custom, I love serving. So if you say you want to renew your vows 3 years or 4 years, and you wanted a custom suit, I am here to do that. Like, I just love serving people and making them feel good. Like putting the clothes is it represents who you are as a person. It transforms you. You might walk in feeling horrible, but then when you see your custom jacket sitting there waiting for you, put it on. Now you transform. You feel great. So that's what I do.
You just use about 25 adjectives in about 3 sentences. That tell me that you passionate about this shit. Anytime motherfucker use adjectives that much, they feel good about what the hell they talk about. You know what I'm saying?
I eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. Okay. And I'm just grateful for, my lovely girlfriend. Like, she came into my life. She understands the vision. She helped me grow. She pushed me. Where
you get that name from? Where you get that name from? Like, talk a little about, like, my shit, different stroke for different folks. Because I got a part, I know, you already know me. I don't hold back. Everybody know me for Stefan. I'm kind of like chilly in a sense, and that's why we got along so well, because both of us don't know what the hell to say out of our mouths sometimes. However, that's just me. So I wanted to have a podcast where people can come in, talk about, coming from different parts of paths of life or whatever the case may be. But, where the fuck you at now and how did you get there? Talk about, different strokes for different folks. That's why I made the show that name. But let's talk about the name of, of your clothing line. What made you decide to go into that direction? You could have kept the shit at Christy's closet. Your mental had taken off at that point and you obviously found something better. So talk a little bit about it.
So when I had Christy's closet, I actually had my brand name. So it was always Sartorial Splendor, but I put it because I had a partner in the beginning. I had a business partner in the beginning. And she had her brand and I had my brand. So I always had Sartorial Splendor, but we put Christy's closet over it. Like, you say if you was to go to TJ Maxx and they carry Gucci, it was kind of like that. So a household brand name. But I got the name in 2011. Actually, we just celebrated a decade of Splendor, December of 2011. So I got the vision. I was reading a blog, or it was a magazine. I know I was reading something and I saw those names and it stuck out to me. And it wasn't together, but I put them together. And I didn't even know at this time, I was even sewing, but I was like, it's something about these names. Like, I love these words. So I put them together and it said Sartorial Splendor. And if you go down to my Instagram, my first post on Instagram is Sartorial Splendor. So I basically was manifesting what was coming, what was to come forth. And what Sartorial Splendor means is, Sartorial means a style of dress. Okay. So it's like you could have like a tailored style of dress, or you could have a beautiful style of dress. And that's where Splendor come in. So Splendor means magnificent, beauty. So I just put it all together, and it just means a quality style of dress. So
Okay.
anytime somebody wears Sartorial Splendor, it's not really what you got on, but it's like you represent more of the material. You know how people go to Gucci and all these materialistic things.
Mm-hmm.
You can have on Sartorial Splendor and it's gonna speak for itself. You don't got to say too much. You know how we are in Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like my personality. I don't like to say too much. When I used to go on that court, I might talk shit to you because we playing, but I ain't got to be, I'm not gonna be before the games doing all that. No, I'm gonna leave everything on the court. I'm gonna say what I got to say on the court, and that's that. So it kind of goes into my brand. Like when you wear the clothes, let it speak for itself. It's a magnificent, it's beautiful. It's like, I love your style of dress.
Yeah,
And
you
that's
have to. Yeah,
and that's what it is.
Listen, I love it. I love it. And for sure, Pete, you ain't got to spell it out. I'm gonna make sure I tag the hell out you and everything. You know what I'm saying? Once this episode is published, they're gonna know where to find you. And I'm gonna make sure if I know they're already doing it, but I'm gonna use any following that I have to make sure that they do the same thing as well, because you deserve it. You know what I'm saying? But I want to sum up the interview, you know what I'm saying, by compiling a grand question. Now, this is different strokes for different folks. So different people can feel different kind of ways about however you about to answer this question I'm about to ask you. So you talking about 7 siblings. You talking about a mom who made it happen. You talking about a girl who struggled with liking, you know what I'm saying, the same thing, you know what I'm saying, and not being able to being in Savannah, you couldn't really, I would say, explore those options without being judged, or you know what I'm saying, you know how it goes, right? You're talking about depression. You're talking about being a high school basketball star. You're talking about being a mid-level, playing for the USA team, going to Georgia, playing for the Bulldogs, you know what I'm saying, freshman of the year, SEC, you know what I'm saying, like all these things, to New York, to Los Angeles, to back to Atlanta, where it's just totally popping right now, by the way. Need to be, just Atlanta need to be recognized a little bit more, and I think people are understanding that now. And I ain't talking about for no Quavo and Jada beef. But anyway, hearing, you know what I'm saying, understanding all of that, like, give some advice to another, you know what I'm saying, little girl out there who's struggling with that same depression, or another inspiring, you know what I'm saying, a fashion designer who just hasn't knitted their first jacket yet, or that young girl who want to play with dolls to impress daddy, but she really want to go shoot that basketball because that's what her uncle told her last week, and that's really she really want to fuck with. What's the advice that you would give to whoever those little girls are there out today? You know what I'm saying? What would you tell them, judging based on everything that you've been through, that would help them get to where you are now, probably quicker than the hell you got there?
You know what's funny? Because I actually was talking to somebody today that needed to hear, some words of inspiration, and just, me be a big sister. I won't even say like a mentor or anything, because I don't see myself as that yet. But, I always keep it like the same. Even when I come back and talk to the students at Beach, I always tell them it all starts with belief. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody will. You get what I'm saying? I know, like, where we from, and I know I'm speaking to everybody in the country, in the world. I hope my words can, travel.
I had 3 downloads in South America and Asia last week, so you're talking to everybody, but go ahead.
Everybody. But if I had to talk directly to the children where I'm from, in the environment where I'm from, I would tell them to first believe. Also recognize what gift God has given you. And I know that we as young people, we get so bored with certain things and we want to do so much, but what you can do really, really good, because you want to do it a lot. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like once you realize the gifts that God has given to you, you got to tap in. And you tap in by having that focus. One, even if it's just like I was telling the young lady I was talking to today, when I was a young girl and I was playing basketball, I didn't get great by just going to play every other day. No, I had every day. Every day I came home from school and I made sure I did my homework in school, so I don't have to worry about homework. I'm going straight to the gym. I'm walking. Matter of fact, I used to walk myself to the gym at 10, 11, 12. Like, nobody gonna stop me. None of my brothers and sisters want to take me to the gym. I'm gonna take myself. So you just having that passion, or just setting 2 hours out the day, like you going to shoot jump shots. You go give that focus to your gift or your craft that you want to tap in. And only person that know about that is you. So you know what you're great at. You know how you got to tap in. So when you gonna believe, first off, believe in you. I don't care who don't believe in you. Believe in yourself. That's all what matters at the end of the day. When you die, you're going to get in that casket by yourself. They digging that hole for you, not anyone else. So it starts with you. And then 2, you got to have a constant. You got to be consistent. You got to not, some days you're going to not want to do it. Some days you're going to be like, man, you frustrated. You might even have a human moment where you feel depressed. You feel something is off, but still go do it. That's when you become great, because you consistent with it. And then 3, I would say have fun. Have fun. Like, don't let the things of the world get you so caught up where you can't be free, and just get the downloads that God have for you, because He gonna reveal. You get what I'm saying? And whether you believe in God or not, it really don't matter. If you tap into yourself, you gonna see what you're great at. And then once you see that, you gonna be consistent. And then once you be consistent, something has to come forward. And that's just really my advice to you. Just keep going. And don't stop. Don't stop for no one. Don't, even if you got to take a break, because sometimes like life will hit you. Pick it back up. Keep going. Keep going. And before you know it, it's kind of like what Nipsey said, put a brick a day. And before you know it, you're going to have a brick wall.
Yeah. They say Rome wasn't built overnight. And you just gave me inspiration by the way, because I feel that way sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like some days I'm great, and I know my gift. My gift is exactly what I'm doing right now, and that's what why I decided to start a podcast. I got started when you was in Georgia playing basketball. I was a 17-year-old kid in California, living in California, trying to figure out. Oh yeah, for sure. I left high school in 10th grade. Yeah, I left high school in 10th grade and said, fuck this shit. I was going out too much. I was partying too much and just doing too much. But I decided to move to California. My cousin was working in the whole hotel thing. And my mom said, hey, if you go back there and you get in school, then I ain't got no problem with it. You ain't listening to me anyway. Go do whatever you want to do.
Wow.
That's how I got to San Diego when I was 17. And I started working in hotels, but I went back to school. Got my paperwork and decided to keep working in hotels. That's how I started in hotels. I was thrown into it, but as a young joker, I always knew that I was good at talking. I had to get the gab is what they call it. I can talk to anybody. You put me in a room with any kind of people, I can relate. I can sell myself. Like, I feel like I belong in this room just as much as you do. Right. And I ain't got a goddamn credential in the world. But you know what I'm saying?
A mogul.
Oh, for sure. That was me. You know what I'm saying? And going through all these stories and San Francisco and Seattle and New York and all these other places, Santa Monica, and opening all these prestigious hotels, all the people that I've met. I still got Gwyneth Paltrow bodyguard number in my phone today. And guess where I met him at? Guess where I met him at? The fucking Beekman. And guess what? She came to San Francisco to another hotel that I was working at. We having a little meeting and like, yeah, such and such is her security guard, and what's his name? I done pulled up the number. This another hotel. So they looking at me like, who the fuck is this nigga? Like, how the fuck you know? You talking about Danielle? Shit, you see Graham behind me. You already know he used to run with her brother Donnell. Like, that's where I'm from.
I was trying to see who was that on that
that's
book.
Graham. That's Graham. Yeah, that's his obituary. He passed.
Oh, he drowned.
Yeah, he helped. Yeah, saved the little boy and ended up drowning. Man. You know what I'm saying? But seriously, that's my inspiration. I started this show because of him. He's always like protect me from bullies and all kind of stuff like that. But he always believed in me and told me, "Cuz, believe in yourself, cuz you got this, man. Stop asking people for advice and validation, cuz you got, man. You smarter than all these niggas, boy. Go do that shit, cuz." That's what he used to always tell me, man. So when he passed, like it lit something. I'm like, man, I'm about to do what the fuck I want to do. Shit, you know what I'm saying? Like I got all these connections. I know all these people, and my gift again is to talk. So I love the fact that you brought that out. Like, like identify what it is. Cause all this time I've been thinking that management was my thing. Because all my employees like me and I get manager this quarter and all that. Man, fuck all of that. I ain't trying to wake up every morning to go make no $1 million for nobody else. I'm trying to make it for myself. So, so the $1 million is me running my mouth and getting my thing out there. So different strokes for different folks is born. So when I hear you talk about focus and giving that dedication, I think a lot of artists in a lot of different categories of entrepreneurs and whatever you want to call it. Everybody who's doing their thing. Let's dumb it down. Everybody who's doing their thing can appreciate the advice that you just gave to anyone else who's even starting to even think about that. So thank you so much, you know what I'm saying, for gracing the show with your presence. Thank you for even agreeing to the interview. It was a pleasure. I want the world to know who you are, what your story is, how you got there, and how they can get there as well.
I appreciate that. You blessed me.
Oh, listen, this was a pleasure. Like I'm telling you, it's some girls out there. I use this thing. I ain't gonna say the name of the app that I use, but it breaks it down to like all my stats, like who, like the age group listens to the show and where they listening from. When I tell you that a 12-year-old somewhere in Europe listened to what I got to say, and what my homeboy from 7th grade got to say, that means that I'm doing something right. Oh, you know what I'm saying? For sure. So when you put these clothing articles together, it's a little girl out there who know, man, I want to tell my mama this same shit that feels you, that's gonna feel you. You know what I'm saying? Once they hear more of your story, you know what I'm saying, as you progress, but also hopefully once this episode is released. So thank you so much again, because you inspired somebody else and you don't even know it yet, because they ain't even hear it yet.
But you know what I learned too? Your life is for somebody else's life. So that's why you give it all. And when you die, die. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you live for forever. You give it all. Give everything that you got. Either that's speak for, like speak life into other people. Tell your story. Don't hide. Be authentic. Live your truth. And that's like you doing it for somebody else's life. Somebody that it's like a shift, like a generational shift, you know, because our parents and their parents, you got to think about it. This thing go deep, you know. And when I talk about deep, I'm talking about like slavery. If you are African American, regardless if you're from Savannah, Georgia, or Harlem, New York, you have dealt with trauma. You know what I'm saying? Our generation, I always say this, and I know I'm thinking forward. I'm thinking like 10 years ahead, but I know we the bridge, because a lot of this stuff has to stop. It has to be shifted. The trauma stop with us, you know what I'm saying? And you know, the generation under us, they're very brilliant. They don't put up with a lot of things that our parents may have or what we may have, you know. They live in their authentic lives.
Oh, for sure.
But at the same time, they need help with development, because it's things that they don't understand that we may have went through, that we could speak and just say that they like, oh, I know I wasn't crazy. I know I ain't the only person going through that. And that could save a life, man. That could change a narrative. You get what I'm saying? It's all about your mind. If you could have $1 million, but if you don't change your mind, it's gonna be the same thing, the same pattern.
You just shot a lot of motherfuckers. I always tell the younger generation, or anybody who's willing to listen, who hasn't been there yet,
right?
Watch it. Watch what you do. You got it now? Cool. But that shit can turn, listen, you know, it can turn a beautiful waterfall into a shit shower.
It could make you goofy. It brings out goofiness in you. Like, you know how people it's a bunch of lanes with money and you're like, man, it's not even that serious. Like, we get it. You know, not even no hating type shit, but it's like, you see the goofiness in people when they don't know what to do, when they allow money. You're supposed to change, you know, but you change in a way where you just get wiser. You know how to invest. You know how to get your money in a circulation where it's your money working for you. That's how you change. You don't change by you basically idolizing the money. Don't let the money, don't let it make you. You make the money. You know what I'm saying?
I think like 3 of my little cousins downloaded my podcast after I posted my last show.
Let's go.
They learned something. This day and age is different. The new shit. They got all TikTok, man. Listen, I'm still trying to figure that motherfucker out right now. I'm still trying to figure out how I can blow up on the TikTok team, because that's where it's at right now. It's out there, but it's gonna take for people or individuals like us to be able to open up about those struggles, those early struggles as a young woman or a young man, and to put it out there like, hey, bro, hey, homegirl, you can get over this shit. So thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you. But before I let you go, tell the folks one last time, where can they find you? Where can they get a custom fit jacket? Or where can they get that some fly, some fly bell bottom that they want to bring back, or something, just something that represents them? Tell the folks where they can find you at.
Okay, you guys can follow me directly at CMARS, which is CMARS22. That is my personal Instagram, which you can see me. I do sewing videos, I do style pictures, I post my family. That's more personal. And then my business Instagram, where if you want a custom jacket, if you want custom pants, you got an idea, you get married, you want to get fresh for a basketball game, follow my company, Sartorial Splendor, SARTORIAL_Splendor, where you can find my link in the bio, www.sartorialsplendorclothing.com. And that's all my access. You can access me. I'm not hard to find. I love serving. I love creating for people. I love making people feel happy and just making them look great. So yeah, come holler at me.
Well, y'all know where to find it, and we gonna make sure that we have every single clickable link to every single website that, or tag or screen name that she just mentioned. We're gonna make sure y'all can find her. Thank you so much, Christy, again, for gracing us with your presence. It's much appreciated, and I wish you all the best on your future endeavors.
Thank you, and I'm proud of you.
Yeah, thank you.